Now hear this. DGW speaking, and welcome to my first battle breakdown. Today, we will be talking about one of the many player-driven battles on the Sigma Draconis Space Engineer server. These are the events of November 9th, 2024, where two nations, the Outer Planets Alliance and the United Nations, came to blows for control over Ariel, one of the moons of Uranus. The moon itself is fairly uninteresting. No important natural resources, too small to base on without being found, and it requires a relatively long travel time to reach. The kicker is that the admin set up a king of the hill there for the nearby Soul Gate. The Soul Gate, much like in the show or books, is a highly important nexus for trade. So much so that nearly every PvP faction requires its use to make money. And whoever controls the Ariel Koth gains a radar around the Soul Gate that alerts their nation when an enemy is present. Naturally, the strategic value of the Ariel Koth cannot be ignored. Fail to control it for too long and a nation's economy will starve. Thankfully, there are some mechanics to make sure it changes hands frequently. Chiefly, once the Koth is captured, it locks for 58 hours and cannot be recaptured by the same nation. But, while the nation may hold the Koth for longer, past 58 hours, they have to actually defend it. This battle happened as the Martians had their immunity expire. This left the Koth up for grabs by both the UN and OPA. As the Martians had little to gain by fighting, the battle was left to the other two nations. Since this battle happened midday on a Saturday, both North and South American players, as well as European players, could all partake. This led to almost 30 players showing up to fight. As players arrived, and their ships arrived to the area of interest, it became clear the OPA was going to have a numbers advantage. OPA had around 19 ships, while the UN had around 9. OPA ships arrived to capture Ariel first, leaving the initiative with the UN to dislodge them and take the point. UN Command decides that the best course of action is to attempt a stealth approach to surprise the OPA fleet, hopefully achieving some kills before either pulling off or turning around depending on the scope of the damage. Before I continue, you should understand that ships have a max drifting speed and a max speed under thrust. Contacting the enemy at the fastest speed possible is preferable, but also risky, as ships under thrust generate a drive signature that gives away their location. The more thrust a ship puts out, the larger the signature and the less stealthy the ship is. Luckily for the UN, planets, moons, and planetoids all block drive signatures. The UN creeps up on Ariel from the opposite side of the point, lights up their drives, and makes the crest of the moon's horizon under max thrust and perfect stealth. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to the UN, the OPA fleet split its forces. While one half of the fleet, led by the faction HGT, stayed on the point to capture it, the other half, led by the faction JSO, and yours truly, held position 50 kilometers away. The JSO-led detachment, which could fully see the UN fleet signatures, sent advanced warning to the ships on the point, who were well ready to engage. UN ships passed directly between the two OPA fleets. When they crest Ariel's horizon, they move to pass the HGT-led fleet and enter a torp fight. With momentum on their side, they should be able to pick apart OPA ships that attempt to chase. This is when the second OPA fleet lights its drives and moves to cut the UN off. Ships from the second fleet manage to reach hammerlock, effective range, on their railguns. With the OPA having achieved surprise, the fight quickly devolves into a stern chase with the now retreating UN vessels having their drives left exposed in range of the OPA guns. It is only a matter of time before the UN ships lose their drives and their ability to keep range. Different segments of the UN fleet begin to break off. First, the CNF cruiser Rat separates itself and dives for Uranus. They enter the gravity well as a pair of OPA ships chase them. Throughout the duration of the fight, Rat continues to dive until the chasing OPA vessels deem entering further into the gas giant's gravity too dangerous, and the CNF ship manages to slip away. Two more groups then detached from the UN fleet. The first, consisting of ships from the factions UNV and WSN, turn around and break for the point. This succeeds in splitting the OPA's attention, as the first fleet group, still slightly further behind, turns around to give chase. The second UN group, consisting of ships from the factions VHI and TMG, perform a similar maneuver, moving away on a perpendicular vector to the main body of the fleet. This group is not immediately intercepted. With both halves of the OPA fleet busy with the first UN detachment and the main body respectively, this group pulls away. Over the course of the next few minutes, the main detachment of UN forces, now left with only 3 vessels, is systematically pulled apart. though it comes at the cost of moderate to heavy damage of several OPA ships. As the UN ships are disabled, 2 vessels are left behind to dispatch the damaged wrecks, while the rest of the OPA Second Fleet flips retrograde and gives chase to the errant UN detachment. For nearly 20 minutes, OPA vessels chase the remaining UN. The first OPA detachment reaches its target first. The preceding rail battle plays out similarly to the last. OPA ships disable thrust before closing the PDC range and annihilating the UN vessels, though at the cost of some serious damage. These actions are then mirrored at the second engagement, wiping out the last UN ships. A few minutes later, OPA finishes the capture. Over the course of this battle, 8 UNN ships were lost. Only the CNF ship, Rat, makes it away. In exchange, many OPA vessels take heavy damage, though none are lost. This fight was really fun on server. Large battles like this always prove to be spectacular. GG to all UN and OPA who played. As far as I know, here are the factions that were present. I want to say that neither side really made any large mistakes. Both sides had a sound strategy, and if it wasn't for luck favoring the OPA's player count, this battle could have been far more even. If you are interested in joining in on the fun, check the description below for the Sigma Draconis Discord server. There you can join the Expanse server. Also below is a link to AlphaMat's channel. He's one of our head admins. He has battle videos and guide videos on how to play the server. For those who are interested, several players took first-person POV videos of the battle, so please enjoy this edit of some of the footage. Also, enjoy my singing. Yes, I am very biased.
I was born on a Syrie street, where the loyal drums did beat. On these love and earth their feet they walked all over us. And every single night, when me dad would come on tight, he'd invite the neighbors out with this chorus. Come out ye white and blues, come out and fight me fast and loose. Show your wife how ye won medals down in Ariel. Tell her how the OPA made you run like hell away from the great and lovely docks down at Palace. Come, let us hear you tell how you slandered VOL when you thought them well and truly persecuted. Where are the sneers and jeers that you loudly let us hear when our leaders of Callisto were executed? Come out ye white and blues, come out and fight me fast and loose. Show your wife how ye won medals down in Ariel. Tell her how the OPA made you run like hell away from the great and lovely docks down at Palace. Come tell us how ye slew them old hoppers 2 by 2. Like the Zulus they had spears and bows and arrows. How bravely you faced one with your Dawson railgun, and you frightened them seals to the marrow. Come out ye white and blues, come out and fight me fast and loose. Show your wife how ye won medals down in Ariel. Tell her how the OPA made you run like hell away from the great and lovely docks down at Palace. Now the time is coming fast, and I think them days are here, when each earther Pezaniski will run before us. And if there'll be a need, then our kids will say Godspeed, with a verse or two of singing this fine chorus. Come out ye white and blues, come out and fight me fast and loose. Show your wife how ye won medals down in Ariel. Tell her how the OPA made you run like hell away from the great and lovely docks down at Palace. Come out ye white and blues, come out and fight me fast and loose. Show your wife how ye won medals down in Ariel. Tell her how the OPA made you run like hell away from the great and lovely docks down at Palace.